host, Nick. And, buddy, tell us who you are.
I'm Tyler Redmond. I run a YouTube channel called Braves on Deck, with Tyler Redmond being myself. We have a lot of fun on there. We have interviews with former players, obviously Braves content, and just
Absolutely.
baseball content in general.
And guys, if you get a chance, please check it out. It really is amazing. I wanted him to give you the introduction because I was afraid I was going to screw it up. So, all right, man. So it's good to have you on. Thanks for getting on here with us.
Thanks for letting me come on.
Yep.
Anytime, dude. We always love to talk baseball with people that like the same things we do. So, you actually did a live stream last night, which I actually thought was really good. Watched it while I was at work.
Appreciate it.
Did you foresee the outcome of that?
You mean the viewership? No, I did not. I mean, we've had a couple things pop off like that. I think a lot of people tuned in because they thought I was going to be showing the game, and then they started listening, and they're like, okay, well, I'll listen to this guy talk about the home run derby. So it was pretty cool. But we've had a couple other interviews and things pop off. I did an interview with a guy named Daryl Cheney, who some older folks may remember. He was a player with the Reds back in 75, 76. He told a story about, I want to say Pete Rose, him, and Bob Gibson, and it all of a sudden popped off. So you just never know what's gonna pop off. And that one, I want to say, got like 60,000 views or something. So it's
Dude,
just what
that's
sometimes it
killing
happens,
it.
you know.
That's
a good one.
just killing it, man.
That's a good one.
I mean, like, we're lucky if we get maybe 5,000. At points, we've had, what, 10,000 views, Nick, I believe?
We've had a few videos that have done pretty well. Not quite as well as
No, not that.
as
not
this
that.
guy
Oh,
over here.
you'll get there. You'll get
It,
there.
Hopefully.
it takes a while. It takes a while.
It'll be on your worst video. It'll be on the one that you're not proud of. It'll be on the one that's just completely comes out of nowhere. It'll have 100,000 views.
Well, you want to hear something just absolutely hilarious? I'll tell you this right now. The first video I posted on YouTube was me and my buddies doing a podcast. All of us had a few drinks. I'm not even gonna lie about it. And I put it up, and it got quite a few likes. You know, and quite a few.
I think that might have had something to do with the title.
Yeah. It did. And then we've had some. Yeah, I mean, that was not one of our highest ranked ones. The last one we did, I think. What was that? Was it the drunk one, or the last one that had the most views, Nick?
I believe that one was the one. The drunk podcast was the one that you did. They got a ton of views on it.
I was supposed to get off of work. It was like 2 a.m. I was supposed to be over at Hunter's by 2:30, and they just kept drinking. I was the only sober one. We had to actually take multiple takes because I had to get people in line. It was hilarious, but not the most entertaining content to me. But
people like that kind of stuff.
Back to the Braves. So, how'd you like the winning streak?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, I think a lot of people early on, you know, get worried, get stressed out about the team in general. You know, the bullpen is always a major concern for people, and I get it. You know, you come off a World Series year, you expect your team to just instantly pop off and be what it was in October of last year. Doesn't always happen that way, you know, and I think a lot of people, I had to, you know, I got comments every day going, this team's, you know, done for. It's not what it was last year. It's over. And, you know, I think at some point you just have to let people get proven wrong. And luckily the Braves were able to come back from a 10.5 game back deficit to make it 2.5 at the break. And they had a chance at taking it, you know, in the first half. And I mean, I don't remember exactly what we were down in September last year, but I remember it was by a few games to the Mets. And
Actually, September we had the lead. It was early
August.
August.
Yeah.
We were like, I think, 2.5 games back. Then we went on a run. They went on a drop like they usually do. No offense to them, but yeah.
Well, now we're in the same spot. You know, to me, we're
Honestly,
gearing
we're
up for a
sitting
very
pretty.
similar. Yeah, we're gearing up to have a very similar year as to how we did last year. The only difference is, the trade deadline's coming up. I don't know if there's necessarily anything there because we have so much coming back from injury. I just don't know where we see a major spot filled unless we trade one of our major, everyday players. I just don't see a spot there, and I don't see a trade happening unless it's for the bullpen.
Well, this is where I sit at it, is the loss of Freeman was huge, which I'm actually going to talk to another Braves podcaster about this one because I know you covered it in your videos, and me and the guys have extensively covered it for the most part, but I want to get someone else's opinion. What is your take on the whole his agent didn't tell him the offer?
So I did a video when the Doug Gottlieb tweet came out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I took that for what it was. I made a video that pretty much, in essence believed it, and I still believe there is some truth to it. I don't know if it's necessarily as true as I originally thought. That being said, the way I think it went down, the way I see it, based on what we've seen out of Freeman, he came back to Atlanta. We all know, we all saw the emotion.
Oh, we did.
What I see there, What I see there is a guy that was shocked. One, I think we all know he was surprised that the Braves would do that. And I think some people are trying to twist this and say that Freeman's just blaming his agent, which I understand the thought, but I personally don't see it that way. I think that there may have been an offer he didn't know about, or there may have been a miscommunication between Freeman and his agent where it was not understood that I want to be a Brave no matter what. And I think that may be why. Look, Freeman fired his agent for a reason.
Oh, yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you can't take it back. You've already signed the dotted line, short of us trading Matt Olson. Freeman.
No,
That ain't
Freeman,
happening.
unless he has a cup of coffee at the tail end of his career with the Braves, he's not going to be a Brave. That being said, his agent's going to get paid regardless. So
yeah,
there's
he's getting
nothing
a part
in
of
it
that
for Freeman.
No.
There is nothing in it for Freeman to fire Casey Close unless Casey Close didn't tell him something. So,
Well,
we'll never know until there's a documentary on it in a few years, but right now I'm looking at it with a naked eye and as an outsider, much like everybody else is, going, something's up. Something is not being told to us, that we should know.
well, this is where what I think is going on. I really do think he wanted to be here. I actually believe his agent thought there were more opportunities in LA. And honestly, if Freeman had literally just went to, or made a call to AA, Alex would have called him. They could have,
Yeah.
but he let his representation do their job, or supposedly do their job. But like Chipper said, if you want to be here, you just say, look, I don't care what it is, get it done. But ultimately, I could see the kind of feeling of betrayal if you're not told about that offer, and next thing you know, oh, hey, here's Matt Olson.
Yeah. Now look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Braves came out better. And
No,
as
no,
much
they
as I like Freddie Freeman, I truly do. I spoke with Matt Olson a few weeks ago. I interviewed him a few weeks ago. For one, he's a very nice guy. I think we all sort of expect that. But beyond that, the dude's a great player. He's younger. He's more affordable. We signed him for 8 years.
8 years.
And they're going to be 8 prime years. They're not going to be 8 years of him aging either. Which, look, I think Freeman's going to have a very good tenure with the Dodgers. He already is. But the Braves took the opportunity of Freeman not immediately re-signing because, trust me, they did not want to trade Shea Langoliers and Christian Pache necessarily.
Well, I mean, I could see Pache, but Shea Langoliers, no.
Not Langoliers.
Mm.
So I don't think they wanted to do that.
I mean, that I see where you're coming from, and it makes perfect sense. And by the way, my co-host Hunter, he literally was saying this is the best option. I mean, like, if we didn't get Freeman, because everybody was pretty sure that this wasn't going down. Like, after they didn't sign him after the All-Star break, after we had that big bump in revenue, they could afford to give him a new contract. By the time we started the playoffs, it should have happened. It didn't. It was kind of getting there, like, Yeah, he's going to the Yankees or he's going to the Dodgers.
You know, I was in denial all the way up to
Same.
the end. I thought he was going to get signed. I just thought, you know, at some point, because of what we saw, because of the, you know, we saw Dansby at the celebration last year, re-sign Freeman. We saw Anthopoulos say that the Braves want to re-sign Freeman. All parties wanted Freddie to be re-signed.
Yeah.
So I just knew that it was going to happen. So when it didn't, it was like, okay, that sucks, but hold up, this is actually not that bad because of what we got back. And what makes it so sweet is not that we got Matt Olson, it's that we got Matt Olson for 8 years as opposed to the remainder of his contract with Oakland. So I think it was a great pickup. I think Olson has, you know, the fact that he's come home, it has been nice for him. I think he enjoys it. I think he is thrilled to be in Atlanta. And I think overall Atlanta's thrilled to have Matt Olson.
Oh no, there's no doubts about that. He has a great demeanor. Seems like a really just good person. Not to mention tremendous Hall of Fame potential.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah. I'd say we came out on top on that one.
We did.
And the Dodgers, you know, the Dodgers can get anybody they want. I think they're a good candidate to pick up Juan Soto. To tell you the truth, that's sort of what I'm thinking right now, because I think Juan Soto is going to be gone.
You really feel Dodgers, not Yankees? Because they're going to lose Judge
I think
probably.
both of them. I think both of them are good candidates to pick up Juan Soto, but it's all about what trade package they can give to the Nationals. It's not about how much they can pay. It's all about what they can give to the Nationals. So we'll
What was
see.
the actual offer? I missed that offer actually. I know
The
he got
offer-
offered.
The offer, the last one I saw from the Nationals was $440 over 15 years.
No,
Which
he
I
ain't
don't-
gonna take that. No.
I don't know how you turned down $440 million, but he did.
I do when
I think
Scott
he-
Boras is your
Woo!
agent, sir. Scott Boras
I
will
think
drive
he-
that price up.
That's a lot of money.
I think he really wants to be. He wants to hit free agency, but I think he also wants to be on a contender. And
Yeah.
right now, the top two candidates for me are the Dodgers because they have the number one ranked prospects farm system out there. The Yankees have about midway. I think they can provide the best package for Juan Soto. That being said, Yankees are number two because I think those are the two teams that are going to want him the most and are the two teams that can afford to re-sign him post that contract. But I also think, don't overlook the Padres and don't overlook the Red Sox because I know that sounds crazy, but those are the teams that are going to have to compete against him in the division. So it's just something to keep an eye out on. You know, I think he's definitely going somewhere. You know, you keep seeing they don't have the best relationship right now. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, I've said this. The guy's probably going to pull if he goes New York or LA, right? You're talking upwards of 650 mil. He will be over 500.
You know, a few years ago, I did a video. I was young, but I did a video on why Bryce Harper would ruin the Phillies because he was getting $300 million. If you remember that was like a huge contract at the time.
It was.
And what have the Phillies done since they got it? No offense to Bryce Harper. What have they done? They haven't won the division.
Is an amazing talent. The only problem
Can't
for
build a
Harper
team.
is, I'm going to say it. Notice something. Bonds, right? Amazing player without the steroids. With the steroids, extraordinary player. Like out of this world, right? But what happened with the teams he was on?
You can't build them. You can't build those teams.
Because I think he's gotten better. I don't think he's as selfish as he once was and as childish. I think having a child actually changed him a little bit, but I still see a selfishness there. Not wanting to lead.
It's not even that. I mean, you look at Mike Trout, who I think is one of the biggest leaders all across Major League Baseball.
Mike Trout's amazing.
The dude's making $400 million. How can the Angels? I mean, they're talking about how are they going to afford Shohei Ohtani. You know, so I'm sitting here going, that's just not the way to win as a baseball club because you look at what the Braves have done. right? To toss it back to Atlanta for a second, they got
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna. They got Ronald Acuna, who's an elite player, locked up for 10 years, $100 million. They got Ozzy Albies. I want to say he's making like $7 million a year.
Yeah.
There's nobody, that's really, just a terrible contract. I mean, you can argue Ozuna. I'll listen to that, but it's for 4 years. It's 4 years.
Well, Ozuna has his upsides, a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah.
But the upside is he can hit it.
Yeah. And, but a lot of people look at these contracts and they're like, how is Atlanta? This is, wrong of Atlanta to do this. But Atlanta is a desired destination. And it's because they're a competitive team. And because of that, you get great players to take long-term, less expensive deals. And it works all the way around. And that's what I think more teams got to get into if they're going to be competitive.
Well, see, I've always believed that, and when I played sports, right, it was always about the team above myself. I would sacrifice myself for the better of the team, And it shouldn't be about how much money you can make. It's about winning.
Yeah.
Would you rather make all this money, but every day go home and like, this team's crap? I'm never going to make the playoffs. I'll never get a ring, right? All because of me. That's what it's saying.
Well, that's what made Chipper Jones so unique, was that he was, able to reallocate money and.
Dude, he restructured his contract so we could get better players. I mean, he is the ultimate team leader. I mean, Smoltz, good Lord. I mean, if he hadn't had that injury, man, he would have retired a Brave. That is the number I wore as a child, right? 29. Love Smoltz, and I love Chipper. I pitched and I played third. So, but Chipper Jones, man, I love him. I'm glad he's back with the team, It was a good thing. I mean, you can tell the difference in the hitting. You're going to listen to a Hall of Famer. I mean, the Marlins didn't listen to Bonds, but, sorry.
I like the fact that Chipper, he's not afraid to speak out. Never has been, even as a player. But since he's retired, there's been these times where he's come out and spoken to 680 or spoken to, just the media, and basically spoke for the Braves and said what the front office can't come out and say. You saw it with the Freddie Freeman. You saw it with Freddie Freeman. You saw it a few years ago when the John Coppolella thing happened, and when the Frank Wren happened. When all that happened, you heard from one man, and it was Chipper Jones. So I've always appreciated that, and it gives us an inside look.
Well, I mean, you ever think it's just the organization letting him do it because people trust what Chipper says? He might not be the most nicest person about it, but he's at least blunt and honest, and you believe him.
I think there's some truth to that. I don't know how much of it, and it could just be that Chipper's sounding off, but to me, it's certainly. I mean, he works with the organization.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely think there's some conference there in what to say and what you can say, but Chipper's got a way to put it out there in a way that I think is receptive.
Absolutely, and now Swanson, we've got to lock him up, man. We've got to get him. We got to get him signed.
He's having a good year, but it is a contract year. And it always tends to, boost the stats. That being said, I agree.
But he'll go through that slump though, Tyler, and that's the thing. He'll go through a slump, but then he's clutch when it counts. I mean,
I agree with you. I still think he's gonna have to take a hometown discount.
Oh no, he would definitely have to take a discount. They will go get Trey Turner if he doesn't.
And he needs to be careful because I don't believe he has Casey close, but he does have Excel Sports, which is the same agent as Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to be a little bit more proactive. I'd like to see him signed in the next couple of weeks because at that point
it has to be done.
At that point, I don't want to get to a point where we're sitting here wondering if he's going to be here next year. We just went through that. It wouldn't be great to do it again.
Well, you don't want to mess with the team chemistry at all, any more than we already have.
I think, like Freddie, Dansby wants to be back. I mean, he keeps stepping up as the leader. That has been the message that I've heard the most this year, is that Dansby is a leader on this team. And I think he's going to want to stay. I don't see Dansby wanting to play anywhere else. That being said, he's got to, that's got to be the same attitude when they're talking about contracts too.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like I said, there you very rarely find a player that is loyal to one team, and we were blessed with Chipper, we were blessed with Smoltz. I mean, Smoltz didn't really have a choice; they withdrew his contract. But I mean, and we had some players that just stayed. I want to see him get re-signed. I'd like to see Raleigh's deal get done sooner rather than later. That way we're not waiting to the last minute to get this done. Because Riley is a talent.
Riley's my guy. I saw him in Gwinnett prior to when he came up, and I was telling people that this guy's going to be good. And what I think stood out to me, like we just talked about Chipper coming out and speaking, there was a night where he was in the press box and he was talking about Riley. We had Josh Donaldson on the roster. A former MVP is on the roster, and he's talking about how great Riley's going to be in the next few years. That told me all I needed to know is that this kid was going to be something solid. And the first month he came up, the first month he came up, he hit like Babe Ruth. And then he struggled. And everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, a lot of folks, a lot of fans out there were like, we got to trade this guy. We got to re-sign Donaldson. And luckily, that didn't happen because he is absolutely phenomenal. I think he's been the most consistent hitter for the Braves over the past 2 years. I think he's going to continue to be that, and I think he's a solid player. And you know what? It says a lot about the Braves' developmental system that we've been able to get all these players. And Riley, I was at his first game when he homered. So he's been my guy really since early on. I've loved to see him perform since then. He's been outstanding. And yeah, I think he's going to be locked up. He's a Southern kid too. Dansby's a hometown kid, but Riley's from Mississippi. I think he's going to want to stay in Atlanta. I think he likes it in Atlanta, but he's a stud, no doubt about it.
Well, the one thing that they should realize is if you're here, right, the fans are going to support you. We root for all our guys. Even when Ugla sucked, and he did, you still rooted for him because, Dan was a funny guy.
Well, the thing about Dan, I was a kid when Dan was playing. But the thing about him that we always liked, and you're right, he had his ups and downs for sure, but he always hustled.
Oh,
he always ran it out.
Every time.
And that stood out. That's what you learn in Little League, right? But how many players in Major League Baseball do that?
I will tell
that
you,
always stood out.
Ozuna drives me nuts with that lackadaisical crap he does in the field, on the bases.
Oh, yeah. Same here. I comment on it all the time.
I'm going to say this right now. I actually like Ozuna. And I know that may not be a popular statement, but,
I see him hustle every now and then.
Everybody deserves forgiveness. Nobody was innocent in the situation.
Yeah, I refrain from talking about stuff like that, but I mean, obviously, when you have something like that, you have to.
Yeah, I generally don't because, like I said, that's one of those things you just kind of steer clear of. But the thing is, Ozuna is actually a charismatic guy. He's entertaining to watch. He hits a bomb, he admires it, and he trots around the bases with his little canary stuff on. He loves yellow. What can I say?
I miss him taking selfies. I wish that would make a comeback.
I like that one. That was good.
I hope that he can get.
Go ahead.
I mean, I hope he can get kicked off to a great second half. That's what I want. He had a good first half. His average was a little low. I think he had 17 homers. So it's not like he's had a bad year.
I mean, he's on pace for 34, 35 home runs, maybe 40,
If he can have what he did in 2020, those 60 games, if he can somehow do that again or something similar to it over the last 60 games and into the postseason, we're in for a very exciting second half from Marcell Ozuna. But absolutely. That guy hasn't been there. That guy hasn't been there since 2020. He was elite at that point.
You want to think about it like this. It's probably because, once again, you're still struggling. You're dealing with these things. You got the personal stuff. You have a fear of non-acceptance. But the only thing you can do, go out there and play every day, right? And try to find you again. That's what he's doing. He's trying to find himself again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long sit out, dude.
He also had a year off. I mean,
yeah, that's the point.
That's that's not easy to come
No,
back from. But I
no.
think he'll be all right. He's got 4 years with the Braves. I think he's got 2 left after this one. I believe so. Yeah, 2 left after this one.
He does, yeah.
So we got plenty more time with Marcell Ozuna, and hopefully he might be a World Series hero for all we know.
No,
Uh,
I'll tell you, I miss old Jocktober, dude. I like Jock Peterson. I'm sorry, I do. Even when he was
I,
a Dodger, I still liked his antics, okay? And
I
I'm not a big
met
fan of the
Jock a
Dodgers.
couple weeks ago.
Huh?
I met Jock a couple weeks ago. I didn't get to interview him. He was running low on time, but
Dude, you were
I spoke to him.
lucky. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. He was super nice. Very very. I mean, as chill as you would expect. I actually, we were talking about the memorabilia. I got something over there. It's if you remember the Atlanta article he wrote, where the famous line "We are those" is where he originally wrote it.
Oh
I
yeah.
had the whole thing printed out on this board, and
Yeah.
he signed the bottom of it. And
That's awesome.
that's over there. Yeah, Jock's cool. I didn't see a place for him this year. I just didn't.
No.
And
No, he wasn't there.
but never would I have foreseen that we would have lost Eddie Rosario like we did. But I think Eddie's coming back. I think Eddie is going to be solid before the year's out.
Now you have to ask yourself though, you've got limited space here, right? Because you're having to use your DH spot, which Ozuna should be sitting in, right? Because he's not that great of a fielder,
Yeah.
but not that great of an arm. But then you've got the emergence of Harris. We all knew this was coming. We've seen it for the past, 2 or 3 spring trainings.
Yeah.
He's solid. He is a phenom. That kid's amazing. Money Mike, right there you go. And then of course Cunha, you got to have him out in the field. So you got to wonder. I mean, like, are they going to rotate him and Harris? What is the plan?
So for me, I think the plan is actually not to sit Michael. I mean, he's been one of your most consistent bats.
Exactly.
Completely. That being said, you got a left-hander and a right-hander out there at left. You got Eddie Rosario and Adam Duvall. I think you platoon those two guys. And,
Agreed.
Some people aren't going to like that because of who we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But, we don't have a lot of lefty bats. I mean, who's more valuable there, Adam Duvall or Eddie Rosario?
And we picked up Cano for that too. Left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion, looking at the lineup right now, with the lack of lefties, I think it's obvious that the more valuable bat for the Braves currently is Eddie Rosario. And it's because simply he's a lefty and he's consistent, or at least he can be when he can see. And now that he can, I think he's going to be a stud in the second half. And I think, the Braves are going to catch a lot of folks off guard. I mentioned this earlier because of all the guys that got coming back from injury. Because Eddie's just the first. You got Kirby Yates eventually making his way back. Mike Soroka, who knows what the starting rotation is going to look like in a month or two.
Well, let me put it
really
this way.
don't know.
You've got to think about this hard here. Strider's had like 2 bad starts, really. Ultimately, 2 bad.
Yeah.
And the rest of them have been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, his first appearance this year wasn't so good. I mean, but you see that 101, that 199 coming out of your hand, you're gonna be all about it. And he can locate it for the most part. For a rookie, that's important.
When Soroka comes back, depending on what he is, he may be out of the pen for all we know. For the remainder of this year, we don't know how much they're really going to push him. That being said,
Well, then
you got 5 guys.
Yeah, you do.
You got 5 guys that are already in the rotation. Who's the odd man out? For me right now,
Anderson.
I know he's had a couple good starts, but Ian Anderson has been the guy that I've been circling going, if Soroka comes back and it's just firing off on all cylinders, Ian Anderson might be out of that starting rotation.
But you also got to put in perspective, Strider is coming off and they're going to have to limit his innings, man, because you know what he's coming off of. So you don't want to push him too far and burn him out.
I think the Soroka project, and similar to Kirby Yates, is more about next year. It's more about carrying beyond, and it would be interesting to see what happens this year. It'll be a fun talking point. But I think
yeah.
you got to focus more so on next year. That being said, it will be interesting.
Oh, I agree. I see. Me and my friends have been debating back and forth on it. Okay, so Hunter said he would pull Strider and put him back in the pen. It's a good option. It's a good option.
He's a
But,
weapon. Yeah, no doubt.
but the thing is, what's he doing right now? He's dominating for the most part. Couple bad starts. You're gonna get dinged up every once in a while. Even the best does. DeGrom gets dinged up. Scherzer gets dinged up. You know, Kershaw. Usually at the hands of us. But anyways, yeah, he would be probably the best thing to do because you do have Anderson, who he's it's hard for him to get past 5.
Yeah, that's his biggest. He throws a lot of balls and has walks and has base runners. But the thing about it, he threw 5 innings in a World Series games without a hit.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of people forget that.
no,
And
that was
the
an
dude's
important
good.
one. He is
Yeah.
great.
The dude is good, but right now, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. Now, if he goes out the next 3 starts, and is just electric, then, you know, forget everything I just said. But
True.
he is the one question mark in our starting rotation.
I agree with that right now. And my thing is, just don't push Soroka. Let him get there when he's ready.
Agreed.
Right.
I mean-
now we're okay, but if we were solid 1 through 5, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But we'll see what Eden does in the next few starts.
The thing about Soroka, I just want to mention real quick before we
Go
move
for it.
on. The thing about Soroka, I was listening to Kevin McAlpin the other day, and he made a good point. He said he had spoke to Soroka and asked about coming back from injury. And Soroka, this is the words of Soroka. I want to say Soroka's, let's just say he's 25. I think he's 25. He goes,
yeah,
look.
no, he's 25, yeah.
Yeah. So he goes, look, he goes, I got a foot injury. I don't have an arm injury. So I got the mind of a 25-year-old and the mileage of a 23-year-old on my arm. It's just a really good way to look at it. You
No,
know,
it's
he's just
a wonderful way to look at it. And
but it's true. It's true.
yeah, exactly.
So
But like, say,
I'm
for a pitcher though, like an ex-pitcher, right? The lower stuff, like the knee, or I mean, I've never had an Achilles problem. Can't say anything. But like, I've got to tear in my rotator cuff. I mean, that's devastating for a pitcher, right? But the lower stuff, you still got your arm. You're just having to rebuild the lower part of it.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
he's still got it. He's just got to fine tune it again.
there's not a lot of Achilles injuries out there to really get a feel for what it looks like. The only one I could really find of a
Hey.
major athlete, but was Dominique Wilkins.
Oh no, yeah, Dominique Wilkins for sure. The Atlanta Hawks.
He did it. Yeah, he did it when he was young, and he came back and had all-star seasons afterwards. So, I mean, there's nothing stopping Mike Soroka, in my opinion, once he's healthy.
Well, I mean, and you know that I've wanted to see him come back. I hated that happened last year. That's just a bad luck, dude. And I mean, that guy is great. If you follow his social media stuff, he's funny, and like
Yeah.
he really wants to be on the field. And Luke Jackson, your boy on Twitter, he's freaking hilarious. And Tyler Matzik's screen name's hilarious.
But we got a lot of characters. You mentioned Luke Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I've told the story before. I was walking in the Battery one day, and this is like, I want to say 2019 probably. This is like before Luke Jackson was good Luke Jackson, if you remember.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no,
it
I know.
Yeah, it was the stressful years of watching Luke Jackson. All due respect to him, but I think he would even tell you that. But we were walking through the Battery. All of a sudden, this dude on a skateboard comes flying by, and it's Luke Jackson. Okay, so I'm like, what in the world? And he's just rolling into the stadium. I'm like, hey man, I get to talk to him. I get a picture with him. So I have it somewhere. But it was just so funny because I think he lived in like the Battery, so he was just skateboarding to the, look carefree as all get out, not in any kind of uniform or anything, just going into the stadium. And he, you know what? He's a character, man. I love his walkout, the Star Wars stuff. I absolutely love it. But yeah, we have a lot of characters in that bullpen.
Yeah, man. So I'm telling you, man, I'm loving this conversation. If you don't mind, we're gonna take a quick break though.
Okay.
And I know you got a thing to do here with the Derby, so we'll come back and wrap it up.
All right, guys, we're back. We are here with everybody, and let's talk about the Braves, guys.
Absolutely, man. We've covered a pretty big amount here. Soroka, Strider, Anderson. So what do you think the Braves need to do to actually get into first place?
Well, I think if they just play like they have been over the past couple of weeks, as opposed to the first couple of weeks of the season, I think they'll be good to go. I like what they did, in the draft. I think that was nice. I like what they did with Cano. I thought that was actually a good pickup. I know some people were, skeptical on that, but considering we're paying him virtually nothing and the Mets are paying him a ton, I think it's worth a shot. And I think he's fit in well with the team so far. So I really like what they did with Cano. I think at this point, it's just wait and see in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some more moves to be made at the deadline. Cano is a good move. He's definitely, he's not as good as he once was, but he has that lefty swing that we need in the lineup. So more than anything else, once to replace until we get Ozzy back, hopefully in September, we need some more lefty bats, and I expect us to kind of get another power lefty bat hopefully before the deadline, along with a starting pitcher. I think we'll be set.
We don't need to start. We set. Because Soroka will be back. That's what we were discussing just a minute ago.
Well, you can't really.
And you've got to make a literal choice here because Anderson can't get. I mean, he can get through 5. He has done in 3 of his last 4 starts, but he can't go any further. That's straining the bullpen. Strider, me and you have talked, and Hunter have talked about him being on an innings limit, and probably having to move him back to the pen just to limit his arm. But right now, he's the hot hand, and Kyle Wright. I never thought I would say this. I mean, I really didn't. Especially when he said he enjoyed being at AAA. I've got to say, that man is rolling. It is phenomenal to finally see him actually hit his potential.
Yeah.
I mean, not even hit it. He's touching it now.
Yeah, but it's good to see. But you can't really count on Soroka coming back. I mean, it'd be fantastic if we could get him back, healthy, but I don't feel like that's something we can really count on down the stretch. I mean, I think we at least need one more solidified starter, and I mean, I think we're just over the top because this is the best, I feel like, overall pitching staff we've had since I can remember.
Well, and this is my thing. I think starting wise, Anderson will figure it out. He usually does. Morton will become Charlie again because we're getting closer to September to October. Freed, ace. Kyle Wright, hopefully he continues his path. And Strider, dear Lord, that 100-mile-per-hour fastball. But the problem I see is the bullpen. Now, Matzik being back and you still have a Minner, that's solid. What you've got to figure out is, I mean, we don't have a bad bullpen, let's just say that. Every time Smith takes the mound, I about die. And every time they hit the ball, a little piece of me dies with it. But, and then Jensen would be okay for a setup guy right now in his career because look at, if you get anybody on base on him, they're running. He has no pickoff move. He stays in one continuous motion. He is a finesse pitcher more than he is a power pitcher.
I think the bullpen is interesting because you're right. There are places where we can't count on them quite like we could last year. Will Smith, though. A lot of people get on Will Smith. He's another one I interviewed in the past couple of months. Will, I don't think he is 8th inning, 9th inning material as of right now.
7.
But then again, yeah. Then again, Aroldis Chapman is pitching, I think, the 6th inning for the Yankees because he's not what he once was either. And it's not really a knock on him. It's,
no, and his replacement's even better than he was.
Oh, yeah. They got a stud.
Oh, yeah.
But we have to have that same mentality. We have to move forward. And with Will Smith, if he can cover, I hate to say it, but the Jesse Chavez innings, right? Where we're up by a few and or down by a few, whichever that may be, and not show. Because to me, what I see is Minter, Smith. They've both been overworked, in a lot of ways. And the same thing happened last year. And then the moment they weren't, we got the Will Smith that was the postseason Will Smith. We got the AJ Minter that was solid at the tail end. We got Matzik. The moment they weren't so overworked was the moment they all started to perform like we know they can.
Well, this is, and I agree with you on this. And Snit sticking with Smith actually paid off. The faith he showed, right? But I really think that maybe them bringing Jensen in, right? I think it messed with Smith. It is him being overworked too. But at the same time, you just came off being the closer for the World Series champion Atlanta Braves. And you lose your spot to a guy, and no offense to Kimley, I respect it, man. He was great, and he is a great closer. He has so many saves. He's second active right now in saves behind only Craig Kimbrell, our former closer. It's kind of funny how we got their former closer and they got our former closer.
Yeah, Craig's been going a few years now, but
but I still have very fond memories, especially his little
he don't
his
have that
arm
same
movement.
fastball, but he's still a good closer. He's
still solid, man.
But
But
I think we still got Kirby Yates to look forward to. That's going to be a welcome addition. I
we
think.
actually were just talking about the Yates thing, and because he's coming back.
Yeah.
O'Day, I'm sorry, man. I'm not sold on him. He was hurt. We knew it was kind of iffy what we were going to get. You never know when they come back from injury. Honestly, and we were talking about Luke Jackson, the rough times, right? Dude, nobody has ever forgotten those rough times. Even when he's excelled, he still gets, but at the same time, there are those guys, right? But I don't see really us adding anybody. I can't think of anybody we could really pick up at the current moment. We just got to find a way to use the guys we have. And I don't know, man. I mean, RC is doing a good job covering second for the most part. Really stepped in right after the injury happened. I was shocked because we didn't lose a step. But, you know what I mean. What move would you make, Tyler?
Last year, I was playing checkers and Alex Anthopoulos was playing chess. So
right,
we can say there's not a move. There may be one that we just don't know.
No, I don't see it. But
I look to what I would like to see is us add a couple right-handed relief pitchers.
That would be a good idea.
Kirby Yates being one of them. But if we can add one more, that would be really solid. There's a couple out there that I've had my eye on. David Bednar has caught a lot of attention. I'd love to get him. Do I think it's possible? Probably not. But the think is possible. Anthony Bass, Miami. And I know it's Miami, but we traded for Adam Duvall last year. And they're not competitive. So I think Anthony Bass, he's got like a sub-2 ERA, and he's a right-hander. You could probably get some kind of trade package with maybe him and Bender, who's another relief arm. We could put together a trade package for Miami if we wanted to do that.
I mean, you know what I was thinking about before the streak happened, before we got over 500, right? I was thinking AA might make a trade for Soler, like he did with Duvall last year.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have another power outfielder.
Yeah. When we see Soler, he punishes us. That's for dang sure. It's like Duvall did us last year, man. It was like
everybody's absolute fantasy right now is getting Juan Soto, and there's but we can't afford that.
We don't need Juan Soto. We've got Ronald Acuna Jr. Listen. You don't need basically a Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team, right? I mean, yeah, you had a Chipper Jones and an Andrew Jones on the same team. And but I'm saying we got what we need. We do need to bring in something.
Our outfield's not the problem. I don't think any position player we don't need any position player. I don't think. I
Nah.
think it's definitely in pitching, and the one area that needs to be improved is the bullpen.
I would say, I mean, now honestly, I've seen Minner go in there and just shut it down, right? I've seen Matzik go in there and shut it down. They're really your 8 and 9 guys, in my opinion.
Well,
Smith and Jensen have the experience, but right now they're just not there.
the other component is if Soroka does come back and Strider does indeed go to the bullpen,
Yep.
you kind of are self-sufficient in getting those additions. You don't have to go to another team. You can
Oh, that's
handle
very
that all
true.
within
You don't have to give away
closed
anything.
doors.
Yeah. But, you know,
So-
he's thinking about 500 steps ahead of where we are right now.
Oh, yeah.
He is.
But-
He
I'm
proved
sure
that
he's
with
already
the
made some phone calls.
So, now, since, and we're going to wrap this up because I know you've got something to do. Let's talk about the All-Star game. Now, I've got to say, I'm looking forward to it. I got to catch, like I said, I got to catch some of your live stream last night. That was about how I got to hear some of the stuff going on with the Derby. But what do you think? AL or NL this year?
I mean, if history is any indicator, probably the AL. But with so many Braves in the lineup, I'd like to pick the NL.
Mhm.
That's
And
kind of where I'm at.
And you know who Vegas is favoring right now?
NL.
Yep. Negative
I'd
one
like to
right
see-
now.
I
Yeah.
would like to see the NL pull it off. But, I mean, four World Series games at Truist Park would be pretty cool.
Dude, it would be really, honestly, because I'm telling you, man. But we go back to last year. I mean, we had a good amount of Braves on the team then. Who do you think's starting tonight? Who is starting?
Kershaw, I believe.
Uh,
Really, over
Kershaw's
Freed?
pitching. Yeah, they've already
Kershaw.
announced that.
They'll probably put
I missed that one.
Alcantara, and then I doubt
Well,
we'll see
I mean, honestly, you couldn't really rank Freed over Alcantara and Kershaw, honestly, and it would look like favoritism if Smith did it.
Yeah, I think it's just a
I don't
veteran
believe-
nod kind of thing.
I don't believe Freed's pitching. I heard
No.
somewhere Freed's not pitching.
Yeah, because
Really?
he pitched our last game, so he wouldn't
What-
he wouldn't be
what-
ready.
No, wait, did he pitch our last game?
Yeah, I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
losing my mind, dude. It's been a long week.
Yeah, so a lot of
Um,
those guys that's how these other guys are getting into the All-Star
Yeah,
game because
yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
I just pitched
But-
3 days ago. I can't pitch tonight, so then
yeah, I
they're
mean,
bring
in all honesty, I mean, I would like to have seen it. It'd been nice to see a Brave, be a starting pitcher. But, anyways, so what do you guys think, homer-wise? Who do you think is gonna knock one?
Riley.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I'd like to see Acuna just to get some
Oh, yeah.
momentum going a little bit. I was hoping
That'd be
maybe the
good.
home run derby would kind of, but it'd be good to see him knock one out. I mean, he needs it in a bad way.
Yeah.
I think that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Pujols get another showing like he got last night. I enjoyed that.
that
Yeah,
was nice.
it was.
I really enjoyed that. As much grief as we like to give Rob Manfred, deciding to bring him and Miguel Cabrera back for the All-Star game was a nice touch.
Oh,
You
man,
gotta
that-
give it to him.
Look, I have nothing against Albert Pujols. I actually like Pujols, okay? I
Me
think
too.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think I mean, really, honestly, you don't want to face him. I mean, it's like when we were playing the Dodgers, for goodness sakes, even as bad as he'd been doing for the last few years, I still got fear whenever he came up to the plate because you knew with the flick of a wrist that thing's gone, man.
It was big time situations. That's where he thrives. So
Yeah, it is. It is, man. I mean, that never dies in a player. And Cabrera, dude, come on now. Really? I mean, you got to love him. You got to love him a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I even got a little bit of affection for Manny Machado now. I really do. That stuff that he did last year, calming Tatis down, it garnered some respect. He might be a dirty player, and I do believe it.
Well, I was watching an interview today on MLB Network where Ron Washington was actually talking about Machado and how much he really likes his game, and that actually surprised me a little bit. He said, he's over on the third base side, so he gets a lot of chance to talk to him and stuff. He's like, man, really like Machado, how he goes about his day, how he, it's just a hard-working dude, because you know how Wash is, always hitting grounders to our infield and trying to get everybody better. So that tells you a little bit, I think, about him.
This is the one thing I gotta say though, man. You know, talking about Wash, man, you gotta love him. Guy could have went and been with another club as the manager, but yet he stayed with Atlanta. I mean,
Very well
Snicker.
still could be.
No, he still could. But you think about it, man. Like, he makes our defense better. He's just a great coach in general. He was an amazing manager, great human being. I met him once, man. He's a really nice guy. I mean, really. And Snicker, I know sometimes we question some of his decisions, but the guy's been around baseball, what, 50 years? Come on now. He knows what he's doing. He does. Might not look like it sometimes, but there's always a plan, apparently.
Yeah, he's earned the right to make the decisions he has, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, shouldn't give Will such a hard time. Will's actually a good pitcher, just...
He's just not a closer anymore. That's
No.
that's the way it is.
No. But Tyler, man, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
I enjoyed it.
Hopefully you come on again, man, or maybe when I'm a little bit more alive. And maybe whenever we can get everybody else on, for the full thing.
Yeah.
Nick, thanks for obviously being on, and Jamin, I'm glad you get to pop on, and meet Tyler. But
Enjoyed it.
to our fans, man, definitely check it out. He really does a really good podcast, so I enjoy listening to it, and I get some of my knowledge a little bit there from him. And y'all should just give him a like and a subscribe and everything else. And definitely thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you very much, guys. Really do appreciate it.
All right. Well, guys, if you hadn't hit the subscribe button, do so now. And if you want to see any kind of content, leave it in the comment section. And as always, go Braves and chop on.
Later.